shock? A tourist?
You could say that.
Lightning Returns is one of the strangest Final Fantasy games we've ever played. Instead of expanding on the foundation of the two previous 13 games, Lightning Returns features a battle system and story structure that feels strikingly foreign.
Hate to break it to you, but there's nothing worth seeing in this desert.
The structure gives Lightning Returns far more freedom than either 13 or 13-2. After a few hours, the four main locations can be accessed and bounced between largely at will. Compared to the relatively contained settings of the past two games, the areas in Lightning Returns appear sprawling. Quests can be tackled in any order, and each section has its own main thread, along with additional objectives. What makes this do-what-you-want approach work is the abolishment of the Crystarium, which in 13 and 13-2 acts as a grid offering better stats and additional skills in exchange for experience. Here, strength is determined by schemata, which is a fancy way of saying customizable classes. Each schemata has its basic strengths. The Velvet Bouncer offers better strength, and the Mist Wizard is more tuned to magic. Schemata also have innate skills. The White Mage, for example, can never switch out the Dispel ability. Beyond what's locked, the players can mix and match as needed. Sticking Thunder on the brutish Velvet Bouncer may not make much sense initially, but it could come through in a pinch when just a bit more magic is necessary. Lightning can swap the three equipped schemata instantaneously during battle. Swapping lets you exploit a particular deficiency, such as an elemental weakness, as well as manage the ATB gauge. Every ability consumes a part of the gauge, and once it's empty, the gauge must recharge a bit before taking further action. Effective switching allows Lightning to attack more often and at a faster rate. Outside of schemata, Lightning can only advance her stats by completing quests. After turning a quest in, Lightning receives a small boost to health, magic, and strength. Defeating enemies nets different improvements. Upon death, monsters may drop an ability, which can then be implemented into the schemata rotation. You'll also get energy points used for specific limit break-esque moves, like a potent cure spell, or a limited amount of time to freely bash enemies. By doing away with experience points, the game also largely removes grinding. In many ways, Lightning Returns toys with what's expected out of a JRPG, and fighting well means learning how to defend properly. Guarding is much more involved than selecting an option from a menu. Lightning can block for as long as the corresponding button is held down, but doing so drains your precious ATB gauge and still has you eating a good chunk of damage. By blocking right when an enemy attacks, all damage is mitigated for most attacks. Encounters that initially seemed impossible turn trivial after learning when and how to guard. Great play is emphasized over time spent, resulting in a battle system that feels far more active than most traditional JRPG combat.
Better get ready for the next fight.
Having only played through roughly half the game, much of Lightning Returns is still a mystery, especially the finer details of the story. Needless to say, if you haven't been following 13 and 13-2, you might want to brush up on your Nova Crystallis mythology before partaking in Lightning's triumphant return.
Thanks for the warning.
Otherwise, you might mix up Falsey with Lussy, and everything will go horribly wrong.
Bunch of nonsense if you ask me.
If you can work through the convoluted lore, Lightning Returns offers a lot that feels genuinely new and exciting, which isn't something we've said about Final Fantasy in a while.
I hope you can make everyone's wishes come true. Everyone!